Okay, we are connected to live stream. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Township Council regular meeting for Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda, we have some certificates of recognition to our township centenarians. Mr. Gillespie, would you kindly handle that?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you. Tonight we have 7 certificates of recognition for those who live at Maris Grove, and also one for who lives at Ivy Creek. The certificates all read, "In sincere and grateful recognition of remarkable achievements of life and invaluable contribution of wisdom, experience, and longevity, given the 2nd day of August 2022 at Concord Township Municipal Building, 43 South Thornton Road, Glen Mills, PA." And we have them for Marion Daniels, age 102, Robert Spencer, age 101, Francis Farmer, age 101, Mary Deluzicki, age 101, Ruth Winburn, 100, Rodman Gregg, 100, Henry Marini, 100, and over at Ivy Creek we have Everett Snyder, age 100. And on Sunday at 1:45, I believe we have a ceremony with the fire company and one or two of our council to go over and give Mr. Snyder his certificate and also a Wawa hoagie. That's his favorite meal. So that's in the form of a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next on the announcements, the upcoming meetings for the month are as follows. August 4th, Park and Rec Board meeting. August 10th, Historical Commission meeting. August 11th, Concert in the Park, Homegrown String Band. August 15th, Planning Commission meeting. August 17th, Zoning Hearing Board meeting. August 19th, Movie in the Park, Godzilla versus Kong. This is where I usually say I think Kong is 3 points ahead at FanDuel. August 25th, Concert in the Park, The Real Feel. And August 30th, the council agenda meeting as and if needed. Okay, next are the monthly activity reports. Public safety, Vanita.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. The Fire Marshal's report for this month is as follows. We are once again seeing a lot lesser number of events than last year. We continue to see zeroed out on carbon monoxide false alarms and appreciate our residents' efforts in making this happen. Last month, we saw a spike in motor vehicle accidental alarms with 17 incidents. This month, there were 13 incidences of accidental alarms. This is positive progress, but we would still like to bring these also. If we can zero them out, that would be great. We all are going to work on it together. Our fire department completed several fire code inspections to confirm compliance. The Pennsylvania State Police was more of a state report to be able to discuss just for our township, but they did also review few of the items, one of them being there was a reported catalytic converter theft which was attempted in our township. Catalytic converter thefts have been on the rise nationally right now. So one of the things that you may want to remember is if your car is going to make a loud noise, it may be time to look under on the undercarriage of the car. The safety tip for this month, once again, we will focus on the accidental car alarms. Same as last month, I'm going to bring it to your attention that there are many reasons for these accidental car alarms, including low battery charge, sensitive movement sensor, faulty hood or the driver door sensor, or also a faulty key fob. If you are getting too many of these accidental alarms, it may be time to have your vehicle checked out on what is causing it to be able to reduce the numbers. Regarding our township safety initiative, we are still waiting on the paperwork related to the terms and contract. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Open Space, Trails, and Recreation, Mr. Foster.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few different updates. Nate, our township engineer, and Hugh, our solicitor, are working on draft documents for the Wilcox Conservation Easement. We anticipate the review of those drafts by the end of this week. This week, we are kicking off the Bush Hill Farm Master Plan. We have a committee that's been pulled together for that work, which we anticipate will take several months and into next year. We are finishing up interviews for our new Parks and Recreation Director and anticipate an offer being made within the next couple of weeks. At Community Day next month, we will have sign-up sheets for folks to volunteer to help with cleanup at our various parks. So whether that's cleanup of invasive species or additional work with regard to pollinator gardens or things like that, we're looking to create those opportunities for the community. Pickleball courts are, as everyone can see when they drive in, almost complete, and we're just waiting for a few final items, but those should be open this month. And later in the agenda, we're going to be applying for a DCED grant for sidewalks and some additional bus shelters as part of our overall township master plan.
Thank you. Sewer and Public Works, Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, thank you. The monthly report from the Sewer Department, they performed 12 lateral inspections for resale certification during the month of July. And the new equalization tank and main lift station pumps are now online. The final 20% payments for the pumps, which were purchased direct from Reiner Pump Systems through CoStars, will be included on the bill list for approval tonight. Also included this month will be progress payments for the pump installation and electric contract holders. In addition, as the work was being performed, the contractor made the engineer aware of extensive pipe work that had to be replaced during the main plant upgrade, and a change order has been issued. Engineering work continues on the Cambridge, Smithbridge, and Mill Race water wheel sewer project plans, and the Concord Road North project is ready to bid, pending Chester Water Authority service agreement execution. Plus, there's been daily and weekly procedures performed, and also 15 additional projects and duties for the month. Regarding Public Works, monthly highlights, 10 different highlights at various locations throughout the township, and 18 daily and weekly procedures. And again, a shout out to Public Works. The staff continues to complete projects, saving costly expenditures, and we will put the projects out for bid. That's the end of my report.
Okay. Building and Code Enforcement, Colleen.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple updates on our permits. We're seeing our permits decrease in a lot of areas. Our building permits last year were 29. They've gone down to 9 in the same month in July. Our plumbing permits went from 22 down to 6. Mechanical permits are down to 10 from 16 last year, and electrical permits at 11 compared to 27 last year. So we are seeing a slowdown in some of the requests for those permits in the township, although our resale certifications have remained consistent. In 2021, we had 24 residential resale certifications, and in July of 2022, we had 25. We have also recently had 2 businesses that closed that came to our attention, that Brewster's on Route 202 has closed, and a Damn Good Bar that was previously Hooters has also closed.
That was debatable.
And the last update I have that maybe Nate, you could chime in on, we are awaiting the opening of the Astoria building, or the MOVE facility on Route 202 going southbound near the Delaware state line. And I know that we've had a resident who was in a month or so ago regarding the lighting. So I'm wondering if you could just bring us up to date on the status of the opening of that building, and most specifically the lighting.
Yeah, my understanding is the lighting has been resolved for the time being with the adjacent neighbor. I say for the time being because they have not opened yet. I don't have a schedule for when they're opening, but I do want to hold off on kind of signing off on all the lighting until they are open and operational. My concern being until that point, just knowing how they operate and what that schedule is, I just don't want to commit fully on the lighting. But I think we've reached an interim period where everybody is okay with it. We do have a financial security release on the agenda tonight, but we are still holding, I believe, in excess of $50,000 on that project, just pending some remaining issues. But I will reach out to the project manager and the project rep tomorrow and just see if they have a schedule for opening for us.
Okay, Planning Commission, Larry.
Thank you, Dominic. Activities for July for Concord Township Planning Commission. The Planning Commission held their agenda meeting on July 11th, 2022, and the public meeting was canceled for July 18th, 2022. The schedule for this month, the agenda meeting will be held on August 8th, and the public meeting will be held on August 15th.
Thank you.
That is it, thanks.
Solicitor, Mr. Donahue. Is your mic on you?
Conditional use application for Cloud 10. I received a letter dated August 1st as follows, and this is from Mr. John Jaros, who is present this evening. After discussion with my client this afternoon and after having had an opportunity to review the draft conditional use decision you forwarded last week, I have been directed to withdraw the application on behalf of the applicant. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, John A. Jaros. So that is why that particular item has been removed from the agenda, because there is no action that need be taken by council as this particular conditional use application has been withdrawn. Is that consistent with the spirit of the letter, Mr. Jaros? Thank you.
And for the public, that was the proposed car wash at the corner of 202 and 1, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Next item would be, on tonight's agenda, there's an item for council's consideration pertaining to conflict counsel, and we have not really appointed one in that regard, and I think it's due time that council do so, because there is the possibility in the future that various attorneys who work for the township may be conflicted out of matters, and you're going to need backup counsel, someone who is experienced in municipal and institutional law. And finally, with respect to the 7-Eleven controversy, the date of the hearing as set by the district justice is September the 21st at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Township Engineer, Nate.
Sure. 4 brief updates here. We already mentioned pickleball is substantially complete. We're just working on a few small items there before we open that to the public. Once we do open that to the public, we will then at some point in the near future close the current pickleball courts for some maintenance. We will reach out to all the users and residents once we nail that schedule down. Second, the road program will be getting started in the next couple of weeks. The contractor is A.F. Damon, a good local contractor, and we'll be getting some notifications out via the township as well as residents in their mailboxes where the work is ongoing and where it's happening. I want to bring everybody's attention to Spring Valley Road, just west of Britton Lake Road. Public Works will be replacing a storm sewer pipe, essentially just west of the AME Church we've been working on. That will happen probably the last week of August or the 4th week of August. We're still working on the schedule. I just bring that to everybody's attention because there will be a detour in place. That detour will be 24 hours, as long as maybe a week, to get that pipe reconstructed. So we are working on the detour plan with PennDOT and Public Works on a plan to execute that. More information to come. We discussed it at our meeting this morning, and we will notify the adjacent township, the HOAs, even a couple of the local car dealerships, PennDOT, et cetera, so everybody's on the same page. Last, we did execute the contract for the repointing of this building. We have a pre-construction meeting scheduled in 2 weeks, and we anticipate the work starting right around the Labor Day weekend on this building. So I know that was a big project on Amanda's list to get crossed off this year. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Seeing none, Township Manager, Amanda?
Sure. I have exciting news, which maybe to the public doesn't sound so exciting, but we are going to be accepting credit cards at the township. And seems silly to some, but government is always light years behind, I feel like, sometimes in these endeavors. And we are making that happen. And we're going to be sort of doing what I'll call a soft opening, if anyone understands that. And we're going to start the credit card process and allow that on the township side. We started that a year ago on the sewer side. And we're working through the back of the house and with our banking to make sure that that goes smoothly. Once we get involved in the new year, we'll be looking at some of the user fees and working that out with council, how to handle that, because different credit cards have different fees, and we're trying to make sure that we're fair to all the taxpayers. So that will be more to come, but it's very exciting to be able to offer that. Lots of folks anymore are so used to paying online and with credit card. It's rare to have a check with you or cash anymore. So, and some young people don't even know how to fill out a check. So it's really great news on my end. The other thing that I really want to bring up very quickly, if council will indulge me, is in this month's newsletter for summer, we did talk about right to know law. And I just want to make sure that I reiterate some of these points that are in here. As you all know, on council, we have appointed Lisa Waldron as the right to know law officer, and our solicitors also act as the right to know law officer and assist us in those endeavors, as there's a lot of legal redactions and things that need to happen. And while all of us support right to know law, it's very important to know a few things. Number one, I wanted to point out, since 2016, the number of requests has gone up over 300%. We are processing well over 100 requests a year. And a lot of those requests take time. And this is the other point that I want to bring up. Some requests can be super quick and they're not complicated, and we try to get those out with accordance with the law within the 5 days of receipt. Some requests require documents pulled across departments. The municipality is also not set up like an old library card catalog. So like the rest of the world, we have boxes and areas and other things kind of like you do in your house, where we're trying to figure out sometimes where documents are and find and locate them. That takes a little bit more time, which is why folks and the law allows us a 30-day extension on those. And I wanted to also point out, a few months ago, the township approved resolution for disposition of records. So we're trying to get better. As I noted before, we're trying to redo a record storage room upstairs, and like everyone at home, you go through your stuff to say, what do we need to move into the space and what doesn't? The Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission creates the document from the state that guides what you're required to keep and what you don't have to keep. So we try to do housekeeping and get rid of some of the old documents. Some of them were from the authority days and things, and the sewer side that we were trying to get rid of. We're actually tied up in a right to know law request right now, where I have an individual who is trying to review 100 boxes of documents, potentially, and we're trying to work with the Right to Know Law Office on how to do that expeditiously and not charge thousands of dollars to our taxpayers for redactions and things of that nature. So we're trying to work through that, but I just like to make sure the public understands that, because I don't think people get that sometimes. So in the course of our day, you know, I don't have one employee who's just dedicated to that. That is a portion of their job. So just be kind, have patience. We're trying to work with everyone. We all fully support that law, and we're trying, whatever we have, we're happy to share. But we have to do it within conformance of the law.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Amanda, with regard to the payments, is that just credit cards we're able to accept, or also debit cards or ACH transfers?
So not ACH transfers yet, but it is credit card payments, and debit cards are able to be used.
Okay. Moving right along, citizen comment. Anyone with any comments regarding anything on the agenda or anything in the township, please come forward. Need your name and address, Mr. Tucker. I know your name. I Mendenhall Drive. I forget the number, but go ahead. Is it on? Technical difficulties.
If everything goes well, there we go.
Here we go. All right, you're on.
Actually, the question, I guess, was for John. When you were talking earlier about open space trails and recreation, something that's close to my heart was not mentioned, and that's what's happening with bicycle trails in the township. And also, is there any progress or anything towards working with Chester Heights down to the new Wawa train station that opens this month?
Yeah, so good questions. I'm going to bring in our township engineer, Nate, here. With regard to the second point, with regard to any extension through Chester Heights, I'm not aware of any movement in Chester Heights position.
I know most of the railway that there runs through Fred Wood's property, which is the farmhouse on the right side of Wawa Road as you go down there.
Right.
And if somebody needed to approach Fred Wood, I'd be more than happy to do that. I have a personal connection after working at Wawa for 22 years, and I'd be happy to do that if you.
Should we appoint you as a liaison?
Your phone might be ringing.
Are you volunteering?
Okay. Your phone might be ringing. We will file that away.
I would really like to get the bicycle trail down to the train station.
For sure.
That's a great idea.
I know that's not in our township.
Right, and so to the part of the Octorara Trail that is in our township, we have been in discussions with PICO with regard to easement access in their right-of-way because they have issued some guidance limiting access for trails in their right-of-way.
And still planning on going through Clayton Park?
So that would be more the Garnet Valley Greenway. So we have the Octorara Trail, which follows the old train line, and then the Garnet Valley Greenway, which follows under the power lines that go down to Clayton Park. So those are two different trails. The Octorara one is the one that would go through Chester Heights and connect to the train station. And we are currently working on wrapping up funding, correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, on the part from basically Wegmans over to the grist mill. But as we're also working on clarifying access rights with PICO, because a significant portion of that is with PICO. Yeah. So with regard to bicycle lanes themselves, are you referring to bicycle lanes like on 202 and Route 1 or more just bike trails?
No, bike trails.
Bike trails, okay. Which this would be.
You also know that the Chester Valley Trail has started the extension down to the Schuylkill River Trail at the eastern end of it. I was down at the end of that last week, and they've already cleared the whole area out and ready to go pretty soon.
Nate, do you have anything to add to that?
I think you summarized it well. Octorara, I mean, it's been a battle. It's been a struggle. The utility coordination is a nightmare. We literally last month, after 2 years, got feedback from PICO. Our next step is we have a preliminary layout for the trail from essentially Wegmans to the Newland Grist Mill back door on Concord Road. We have a lot of funding lined up for different parts of it, but our next task is to redesign this to address all of the utility company concerns. PICO, Chester Water, I believe we have 4 pipeline crossings, and level 1 telecommunications. So we have a lot of feedback. My next ask of this council will be some additional funding, redesign it, send it back out. But realistically, Octorara Trail construction is a couple years away. Yeah, best case.
Also on that, the trail that right by the middle school that crosses, was it? I forget what the road is back there. The new trail that just opened. I've commented about several times that it's very dangerous, has a very steep bank, and hills for the cars coming up to. Is there any plan to clean that up for pedestrians? I would never ride my bike there.
No, I don't think we want people riding our bike. We call that the Coleman Tract across Temple Road there. We can mention to Public Works, maybe we could do a little bit of additional clearing at that crossing. From an improvement standpoint, there's just not enough volume of people, if it was, there's only so much we can do there.
Anybody riding a bicycle on it.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't.
It's not a bike trail.
It's not a bike trail.
It's more of a passive walking trail.
Why are you saying it's not a bike trail? Because it's not paved?
No, right now, I don't think it's our intent for that to be a bike trail for people using mountain bikes or something like that on it.
It's kind of wet over there, too.
That doesn't matter to people.
All right, you like to get muddy, a little off-road.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, moving right along. Any other comments? Yes, come on up, guys. Okay, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Matthew, and I'm Tyler Hayes. We're from Troop 191, and we feel like we have a few things about the library.
Sure.
Rachel Cole Library. So feel that the library doesn't have enough space in it and it doesn't have the stock that it needs.
Well, it's many things.
Yes.
So there's things from, like he said, there's not enough space in stock, like books for young adults and all kinds of things. To how we've been treated by some librarians, we feel like some of the librarians have not treated us nicely at times, as they could have. But I just feel like it's not as welcoming of a library as some other libraries.
Maybe not as user-friendly as you would like to see?
Yes.
Okay. Appreciate your comments. We will relay them back, communicate them to the library board. We have, Rachel Cole Library is unique in Delaware County. If you go to media, they have a media library. If you go to Upper Providence, there's an Upper Providence library. Our library is the only one in Delaware County that does not just service Concord, but it services Concord, Chasford, Bethel, Chester Heights, and Thornbury. Am I leaving one out? That's all of them. So there's a lot of different members on the board that guide the direction of the library. We have representatives from our town, and I think I speak for my colleagues. We will relay your sentiments to them. Also, we do agree that the library needs more room. I think they have a capital campaign where they're going to try to raise the money for that, and we would support that in any way we can. More importantly, I'm very happy that you guys came up here and talked. You did a great job. And anytime you want to come in here, be our guest. We love it. In fact, you can email Amanda 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and she will answer you. But meetings are every month, and great. This is great. This is very rewarding in today's age to see young people wanting to get involved. Anyone else have any comments?
No.
Okay, so thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
All right. That being said, Amanda, you have some that came in via email?
Yes,
or
that is
pigeon
correct.
or whatever?
We received 3 emailed comments. So if you'll indulge me, I will summarize the comments that came in. Also, please note that all public comments get attached to the minutes when they're finalized and are put up on the website so that folks can see exactly what came in. So the first one comes from Mr. Cleary. He lives on Schoolhouse Lane. He has some questions that he posed last month. He wants to know why the township doesn't get involved with bus safety for the school district. And his other question is, he wants an updated timeline of related activities to date regarding the decel lane for Baltimore Pike and Schoolhouse Lane. Mr. Twersky sent in an email. He lives on Cedar Grove. And he made a comment that he doesn't like the new agenda use of the word citizen and would like to see that changed. Mr. Goebel wrote in a comment. He lives on Quaker Lane. And he requested to have the minutes updated to reflect what he felt was more accurate of what he said at the public meeting. And council has that in front of them as those comments came in this afternoon. And I will defer to council as to whether or not you feel the minutes should be amended to reflect his comment, if you would like me to read that.
Okay, that's basically everything?
That is everything.
Okay, moving right along in the agenda, business items. Under the consent agenda that's in the program or the meeting list, we're going to move item E to part of the regular agenda. So the consent agenda will be items A, B, C, D, and F. And first would be approval of the council public meeting minutes of July 12th, 2022. Second would be total expenditures of $595,614.53, which is a June payroll of $183,194.73. July payroll, I'm sorry. Current bills totaling $150,077.95. Sewer bills totaling $262,341.85. Following certificates of payments. Payments number 2 and 3 to BSS contractors for the lower level of the community center building, which is the brick building when you pull in here, $37,462.50. Number 4 to JEV Construction for the sewer project, $14,896.51. Number 2 to AN Lynch for the sewer project electric, $82,944. The following financial releases: number 2 to Westfield Construction for sewer, $11,728.44. Number 4 to Astoria, which is the MOVE project, for $122,395.05. And lastly, council appointments, reappointing Amy Capelli to the Planning Commission, term to expire 2026. Sherwin Montaway, is that correct? Mottaway, Park and Rec Board, term to expire August of 2027, and conflict counter Ernest Spiros Angelos Esquire. Do I have a motion to approve all of those items under the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Dana, the only thing I should have asked, but the bills, you normally make that report. They are consistent with previous months, correct? The amount of money, you're our finance person, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, sounds good. All right, next item would be item E that was left over from the consent agenda, which is an application to accept as complete for filing a sketch plan for Orchard Knoll, 299 Britton Lake Road, Panorella Stingray Developers.
Mr. President, I'd like to move that we accept this application as complete for filing, but that we also send our solicitor and engineer to the zoning hearing board as to become party to this matter regarding the variances requested.
Okay, do we have a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Vanita.
Okay. Schoolhouse Lane and Baltimore Pike improvements. Amanda, this is what Mr. Cleary had asked about?
Yes.
Okay, so these will be part of the minutes.
Standing
so
item on
you got it. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I think we've been providing an update literally monthly on this project and the various aspects of this project. The current update is as follows. We had authorized Higgins, our signal maintenance contractor, to make the left turn modifications at the intersections of Cheney and Baltimore Pike, as well as Stony Bank and Baltimore Pike. My understanding is the improvements to Cheney have been completed. The improvements to Stony Bank are pending some equipment that they anticipate getting in the next week or two. Once both of those intersections are installed, we will then give them the authorization to move forward with the left turn restriction at Schoolhouse and Baltimore Pike. Again, we didn't want to install that restriction until we had both of those adjacent signals modified to allow more traffic making those movements. So hopefully in the next, I would say month to 6 weeks, we can get both of these projects executed. And then last, more or less on the list, was the next item, which was the deceleration lane on Baltimore Pike to go northbound on Schoolhouse. Again, I believe we had essentially agreed that that was a good improvement, an improvement we all liked. But again, that was not going to proceed until we completed all of these other improvements first. So that, I think, has consistently been the message. Hopefully I'm not misstating anything there. But I would suggest that...
In order for clarity, though, and if I'm saying something out of line, I'm sure my colleagues will correct me, but I think the direction was, and you're absolutely right, the decel lane was going to be the last part of the puzzle, but it was going to be done.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a better clarification.
We're not wavering on doing, we made that commitment, we're going to do it, but it's the last part of the puzzle. We're getting all the low-hanging fruit first.
Yep, that's probably a better way to say it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
That's all I have on that.
All right, anytime, Nate. What we got next? Resolution 32 of 2022, a conditional use decision for Premier A2 Storage, 366 Wilmington Pike. We had a hearing on this earlier on June 14th. Mr. Jarvis is here representing the applicant. I also see some of the neighbors. I see Tracy Johnston, okay, and Paula Gavin, not here. So Tracy, you're here? Okay. And it was to construct a one three-story self-service storage building of 76,000 plus or minus square feet, and one two-story of 23,000 square feet. And there was much testimony given by various experts and questions asked by the members of council and the audience. I think the action before us is to approve this subject to 33 conditions. And Mr. Donoghue, procedurally, should we read the conditions into the record and then have a motion and second and questions?
Exactly.
Okay. So be approved, subject to the following conditions. Number one, applicants shall comply with the applicable comments contained in the Pannoni Review Letter dated June 10th, 2022, unless modified by this decision or subsequent review of the land development plans. Number two, applicants shall comply with all applicable bullet point comments set forth in the Fire Marshal Bob Vasick's memo dated May 24th, 2022, unless modified by this decision or subsequent review of the land development plans. And these are attached as exhibits. Number three, applicants shall comply with the Concord Township Planning Commission comments contained in their June 14th, 2022 memo. Number four, applicants shall comply with the Concord Township Sewer Letter dated May 23rd, 2022, and the Chester Water Authority letter dated May 25th, 2022. Number five, applicants will apply for and abide by the terms of all required Concord Township and Commonwealth of Pennsylvania permits and licensings. Number six, no outdoor speakers which transmit any type of noise are permitted. Number seven, retail sales of self-storage items such as boxes, locks, plastic wraps, shelves, tape is permitted so long as said sales space is limited to 800 square feet. Retail space sales of items not related to self-storage is not permitted. Number eight, the applicant shall provide both indoor and outdoor security cameras providing coverage for the entire site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Number nine, one trash recycle container is permitted. The location of the enclosure of said location and enclosure of said container is subject to the approval of the township engineer or land planner. Trash pickup shall be in compliance with township ordinances. Number 10, the facility must be connected to public sewers. Number 11, public sewers and water. No overnight parking, number 11, or no loitering signs shall be posted as mutually agreed by applicant and the engineer. Number 12, all building elevations and exterior colors shall be subject to review and approval of Township Council. It is understood that Township Council approval shall not be unreasonably withheld. Number 13, all outdoor LED lighting will be LED and must be designed and located to minimize spillover to any existing residential properties. Comply with the Township Code requirements, conform to the standards of the Engineering Society of North America, and be reviewed for approval by the Township Engineer and/or Land Planner. Number 14, there shall be no more than 6 parking spaces in front of the property, and said parking spaces should be arranged to allow internal site circulation without blocking access to the storage facilities. Number 15, sidewalks are to be installed along southbound Route 202 along the entire width of the front of the property. 16, all traffic circulation and turning templates must comply with the recommendations of the Township Engineer and Township Fire Marshal. Number 17, no loading and unloading of any delivery vehicles will be permitted on Route 202, including the shoulder to road, and signage restricting such loading, unloading shall be placed on 202 as approved by the Township Engineer. Number 18, it is understood and agreed that the applicant will execute a development agreement, an improvement security agreement, and a maintenance agreement as associated with the project. Number 19, there shall be no retail sales outside the building and no goods or services shall be displayed outside the building. Number 20, the existing and mature tree canopy along the rear and northwest corner of the property to the township line, bordering residence property shall remain intact where possible, and a plan for protecting the mature tree canopy shall be presented to and approved by the township engineer prior to any site preparation. And in addition thereto, a 30-foot wide vegetation berm buffer shall be installed subject to the approval of the township engineer and land planner. Number 21, no more than 2 employees will be present at the premises any time, and no live-in employees will be permitted. Number 22, the facility shall be open for operation from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. each day, otherwise no access to the building is permitted. Number 23, no overnight parking of vehicles is permitted. Number 4, the maximum height as defined in the Township Code of the front of the building is 35 feet, including the parapet. The maximum height as defined in the Township Code of the rear building is 22 feet, including the parapet. Number 25, any and all mechanicals shall be located on the center of the roof of each building and shielded from view by the parapets or other screening devices determined by the township engineer and/or planner. If required, sound barriers of no more than 3 feet in height will be employed for the mechanicals. Number 26, no truck or car rentals are permitted. Number 27, no combustible materials are permitted in the building. Number 28, no parking spaces are permitted in the rear and/or sides of the building. Number 29, no pole lights in the rear or sides of the building. Number 30, no businesses shall be located or conducted from the premises other than the applicant's storage business. Number 31, there shall be 1 separate right-in entrance from Route 202 location and 1 right-out exit on Route 202. The locations are subject to the approval of the township engineer and PennDOT. Number 32, stormwater basins on neighboring properties, including 1165 and 1167 Smithbridge Road, shall be protected and not adversely impacted by stormwater generated by the development. Number 33, applicants shall comply with all requirements of the Concord Township Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance, including the submission of land development plan, which incorporates all the aforementioned conditions for review and approval by Concord Township, Delaware County, PennDOT, and DEP. So I guess to keep the ball rolling here, we would need a motion and a second, and we could take any questions or discussions. We have a motion.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussions from council?
Mr. President, I believe there was some discussion around signage, and I don't see any comments in here regarding signage. Particularly, I know that the Metro Storage Facility has a lot of interior signage on their windows, which seems to be out of compliance with our signage ordinance and so forth. And I'd like to minimize the use of windows for the purposes of window decals, signage, etc. Is there some language that was to be put into this regarding signage?
I think that we normally pick that up at land development stage, but it would have to comply with all our ordinances. If the window signs at Metro stores are out of compliance, then Amanda, we should check with Mano and we should be citing them for that.
Should that be a condition here in the conditional use, or would that be part of the land development
Historically,
approval?
we've done that at land development approval.
Okay, very good. So I'll defer amending this, and we can address that at land development, but just so the applicant is aware of the desire.
Okay, and Amanda, as a sidebar, check the ones down at if they're not right, let's get a citation out. Okay. Okay. Any questions from anybody? Yes, ma'am. John, can we let one of the residents speak first?
Hi, I'm Tracy Johnston. I'm the neighbor. I noticed that in here it didn't say anything about fencing.
It will be fenced, and again, we will pick that up at land development.
Okay, I was just reading through the conditions and
That's part of the project. I don't think they would open the place without a fence around it, correct? So
Beautiful.
That would
Thank
be
you.
good.
Do you have a preference for what type of fence? More of like a chain link fence, or more of a wood fence that you can't see through, or?
Yeah, the wood fence.
Okay. We can,
more of a visual obstruction than
And
necessarily.
again, we have kids running right now.
I think that perhaps that would also be best at land development, because we should see the landscape plans first, and then between the landscaping and the fencing, we can probably come up with something that can make everybody happier.
Yes.
Okay?
That's my husband, Troy.
She did a great job last time. This guy was crying when he left. She beat the hell out of him.
She's smiling tonight.
Yeah, he does, and usually, because he doesn't get what he wants. But
And
anyway.
the fences
All
were shown on the plan, just so that,
Yeah.
you know, they were shown to us, so I think you're going to have
They
them
will
there.
be there, okay. Mr. Jarris, do you have anything to add?
I don't, other than we, on behalf of the applicant, we appreciate the opportunity to review this ahead of time, and these conditions as currently read in this evening are acceptable to the applicant.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, good luck with your project.
Thank you.
And watch those window signs, okay? All right, next one is the Resolution 34 of 2022. I think it was referenced earlier about sidewalks. Nate, can you give us a real quick overview on that, the multimodal grant?
Sure, yeah, this is a grant we're applying to DCED. It's going to be probably just under $1 million, I think was the initial cost estimate. It is a match, I believe, of 20% on the township's end, but this would be a grant from the state. 30%, thank you, Amanda. If everybody recalls, we've got really some great planning documents out there. We had all the Voice Your Vision programming from last year. We had the open space plan update that we just finalized this month. And then we've got the 202 and Route 1 pedestrian kind of multimodal study we partner with Chad's Ford on. So we think this project really ties all three of those great projects the council pulled off together and gets us some sidewalk, bus stops, amenities along the Baltimore Pike corridor. So we're going to give it a shot.
Okay, Benita, you were going to handle this one, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Resolution number 3322, DCED multimodal grant application. Be it resolved that Concord Township of Delaware County hereby request a multimodal transportation fund grant of $668,070 from Commonwealth Financing Authority to be used for Baltimore Pike multimodal connection improvements. Be it further resolved that applicant does hereby designate Dominic Pileggi, Council President, and Amanda Siroc, Township Manager, as the officials to execute all documents and agreements between the Concord Township and Commonwealth Financing Authority to facilitate and assist in obtaining the requested grant.
Okay, this is in the form of a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next is the authorization to advertise a request for proposal for third-party building inspection services. We use a third party now, but proposal here is to have them in direct employ of the township. It will require interviews and appointments and all that stuff. Do we have a motion to authorize that advertisement?
So moved.
And John, you're the second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, authorization to advertise stormwater ordinance for DEP and county. Larry, you're going to make the motion on that one?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, a second by,
Second that.
okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nate, briefly, could you fill us in on this Newland Grits Mill pedestrian memo or email we have here?
Yeah, just backtrack just half a minute. The stormwater ordinance is really just a technical modification to the previous update. We're going to tighten a few standards up, tighten some language up, and just bring things to the current standards per county regulations. We're doing this with every municipality in Delaware and Chester counties currently. Shifting gears to the grist mill, with the paving of Cheney Road, I think they're experiencing higher traffic speeds. We all see it. And they use a lot of their facilities going back and forth across Cheney Road. I think the combination of the new paving with PennDOT and their summer camps kind of revisited the issue of that pedestrian crossing. Historically, we've applied for grants from PennDOT to improve that crossing with some overhead signage, push-button signage to try to make that safer. I think the ask of the gristmill is continued support on this issue, possibly applying for another grant on their behalf, and or maybe brainstorming some interim improvements. So that's the short version.
Okay, more to follow, correct?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Seconded.
All in favor, please signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming out. To our two scouts,